Hello. Hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to Tier 4 of ALR. And today we are here at USA, at Kota. For round 9 of 12 rounds of Season 8. And it's again a special day because we are going to do the experimental format once again. We already did that in round 5 in Belgium at Spa. And what that means is that we basically will do a one-shot quali and then a 5-lap race to determine the grid for the 50% race. So the one who wins the 5-lapper is going into the books as the guy who took pole position. Yes, it's not really that hard to explain. So, and to do that we are here at indeed Circuit of the Americas. In hindsight, I'm not really sure if this was the most ideal place to put the format on. I was quite convinced about Belgium because I was like, yeah, in Belgium you can overtake well enough. In Kota, to be honest, you can. So I had my doubts, but I think it worked quite well in the Thursday races, and some more people were positive about it compared to last time. And some other people were negative about it compared to Belgium, so it's just a format that sometimes is good for you and sometimes it isn't. And yeah, for next year we are going to see if we do this format again. Not really experimental then, but just for a very few select number of races. Me and Reaper were thinking about only 2 of the 12 races, or maybe even only 1, and then use another single race to test another format. But we're only gonna do that if it's like a really viable option to try out once. But yeah, more about that later. To talk about like recent stuff, in the announcements, if you didn't check so far, on the 3rd, so 3 days ago, there was a vote put out by Reaper for the tracks for next season. Of course, season for at least one of the seasons on the game, which is mainly 3 seasons. Mainly we got 3 seasons on per game. Because after 3 seasons you can just schedule it with some weeks of break. You end up with like the new game. So there's only one more season on F1 2021 left. And we always try to at least do one season where the majority of the tracks is being selected by the drivers. And that's mainly because I think the majority of the tracks are selected by the admin and helper team for like the first season, and then for the second season I was very keen on doing every other track that we didn't. And now track vote is all yours for 8 of the 12 tracks, because the final 3, well 2 will be selected by Reaper and me, so basically a personal vote by either Reaper and me, and the 3rd track will be voted by the helpers, all helpers, and the 4th track, because then you have like 8 votes, Reaper's vote, my vote, helper vote, and then the 12th and final track will be a surprise track. Really gonna spin a wheel for that one, and that consists out of all the remaining tracks that haven't been voted so far. So even if you all guys dislike Monaco, there is a chance, I think 1 on 10, that you will drive Monaco next year. So yeah. So that's basically what we're gonna do. You can still vote, but I think somewhere next week we will determine the top 8, because I think everyone could have seen it so far now. So that's over that. Then there's the championship order. But before I can go to the championship order, we are going to watch the one-shot quali. Because that is starting now. Let me go with SietseBouma, since he is indeed one of the championship contenders. Going into 7th in this swinging sweeping section. Looks quite a tidy, and that really corresponds with like the position he got on track. We have 18 drivers here tonight. I think we got Lasso back as a new reserve. He also hit the front now. And apart from that, I don't see any new drivers. SietseBouma is still top 5, and it's interesting to see where Vitor is, because he is down in 13th. I'm gonna keep an eye out for those two, since those two are like the major championship protagonists. And yeah, not to be a little bit anticlimactic, the title battle in tier 4 is like the least closest, with Vitor I think almost 30 points ahead. I'm gonna double check that with you guys in a second. But SietseBouma also dropped back now, so it looks like we're gonna have a very... he goes a little bit deep into the penultimate corner, prevents it getting invalid, and the pole goes to Pyro with a 32.6, 2/10 on Lasso and 3/10 on Kajetic and Fonter now. And those are the only 4 drivers within the 132. Good luck by ReaperDude. He is 5th with 33 flat. And the rest I will see in a moment. Indeed, that's the top 5. Then Rula 33.1, followed by Will with a 33.3. O'Leary 33.4. SietseBouma only 9th on a 2nd of pole. 33.7 together with Eli. And championship other contender Vitor is 11th. And he can start on 3 tires, but you don't need that, because we're all gonna drive on softs, I think. And Dove in 12th, Major 13th, then Snap, New Squid, Confern, and invalids for Leroy and Cillian. So yeah, Pyro doesn't have pole now, but he can start first in his quest to pole. Standings, indeed, Vitor is exactly 30 points ahead of SietseBouma, 135 over 105. And then there was a gap of 41 to Will in 3rd. So I think Will has to defend 3rd for a charge in Fonter now, who is in 4th with 54, and O'Leary is 5th with 49 points. Further in the top 10 of the championship, Racing Upta, Kajetic, Runner Rula, Pyro and Romp. And then followed by Astis, Ahmed, Snap, Major, Wicked Prophet, Reaper, Confern, Tej, Dove, Eli, Newsquid and Abby. And there are even 5 drivers without any points, and I think 2 of them are here on the back row now, in the form of Cillian and Leroy. Last week was a good one for Major. He didn't have any penalties and promoted up to 3rd in his first podium of the year. But let me go through this 5-lapper with you guys. There's a drive-through for Lasso, who jumped the start, and that indeed promotes him into the lead. But, oh wait, he breaks very early. Pyro had an exceptional run there through the stuff, and I think Vitor is indeed out with SietseBouma. I saw something in the background. Title rivals coming into a clash with each other, and they both have an incredible job to do now for the race. And I didn't switch particularly quickly to that, but I think I saw it there in the background. It was a Williams and a Red Bull going off, and very interesting to see them tangle with each other in only the 5-lapper. I was just more focused on Pyro, who had an incredible start, to be honest. Or at least an incredible turn 1. The best start was of course for Leso, but that was kind of obvious with his jump start. And he will have to visit the pits, and in this 5-lapper that's gonna cost him so much that he will also start at the back. Interesting to see that a drive-through penalty can ruin your grid position for a race in ALR. That's the first, I think. But, so Victor is really out, and yeah, I think the laps we've got, Stumacher is also kind of done for now. And yeah, both, to be honest, it looks very bad for Vitor, but the only good thing he has is that if there was one driver he wouldn't really mind to tangle up with and end up at the back of the grid, it would be Stumacher. But yeah, I think the problem is now mainly for Stumacher, because he has to like catch up on points, and we will see how he will fare on that job in the actual race. I think he's also pitting now, so he will definitely, start on the upper. And also Snap with damage front wing, and Stumacher same. I'm very curious to get to know what actually happened there. So back to the front. So since Leso pitted, it's Pyro now, who has 4 tenths on Kajetic. I don't think there's... oh yeah, I can show this one. A lot of great starts by some drivers. Major up 7, Nuve up 6, Cillian up 8. He came from the back row. Yeah, and those guys are doing a very well and good job for a good grid position in the race. We've got something slightly more in the midfield with Major and Dove here, battling for a place on the 3rd row. Cillian is even a 9th, another position, which makes it 9 up. And Kajetic already with the fastest lap in the 2nd lap, so he will potentially attack Pyro soon to see if he can grab the pole. But of course no DRS still. And yeah, already quite some gaps, to be honest, for a 3rd lap. Except for there are some exceptions, and we have it over here. For Kajetic, it would not be his first pole of the year. He scored 2 in a row in Belgium and Saudi Arabia, and Pyro took the pole in the Netherlands. So yeah, those drivers are among the quicker ones, but they grew into that position throughout the season. Especially for Pyro, since Kajetic only joined in Belgium. And there is the overtake attempt, and it works quite nicely. Pyro is still there on the inside now, and you can really go side by side in this section, and that's really nice. Pyro has the move here. He's covering the switchback off, and this is allowing Fonter now in this battle for pole. And that's indeed the kind of battles I hope to expect to see in the real race. We already got a real race here, though. Gap's quite extensive to Rollerula, to be honest, so it will be these 3. Pyro and Fontenau now both with DRS, so in fact Kajetic indeed grabbed the position just by the first move after the long straight. And it also looks like that Fontenau is pace-wise slightly quicker. He was a little bit lucky to be able to attach to this fighting duo, because they were fighting. And I think in the meantime Dove also passed Major for 6, so both drivers are now up by 6 places. Wait a minute. Oh, Kajetic with a big mistake. I was just, I think I already know what he did. I think everyone on the stream already can see, because I just turned my head to my PC. So I think I already know what he did, judged by the missing front wing, and he is basically throwing a chance on pole position here, and this is going to be a real problem for him, since you can go on for another lap without front wing, but you would like to pit, I think, and yeah, it will be far down the order for him. And yeah, it looked very nice. It looked very good for him, and I'm missing all the important stuff, to be honest, because Fontenau has actually gained the position on Pyro, which he did on the straight, I assume. And a lap ago Fontenau was, or I think 2 laps ago, he was 3 seconds off the leading duo, and now he is in his final lap, with the fastest lap, on his way to take pole, which would be his first of the season. And indeed Kajetic is in and will start from the back rows of the grid. So is there anything Pyro still can do? He was the man who started first. Fontenau only qualified in 4th, but looks like on his way to the first grid spot. Denja, jeez. Whole essay, man. Well, could you review the possible future competition for you? Yeah, that's very clever. Pyro's coming there, less than 4 tenths. He of course has the benefit of the DRS there, and he will be able to make a move around the outside. He's still there. He just gets enough room. There is plenty of room here, and that's a late braking maneuver, and that allows Fontenau to come back. Incredible fighting here. If this means anything for the race we are going to see, I will be a very happy man. And yeah, I think Fontenau basically worked this out just by Pyro outbraking himself slightly in that section, and that indeed there's a yellow, but it indeed brings Fontenau the pole, Pyro in 2nd, Rollerula safely in 3rd, great 5-lapper by Reaper, he's in 4th, an even bigger or greater achievement there by Cillian, coming from the back row after disqualifying his one-shot quali. He starts in 5th, and he would be very happy with this format for today. Major did somewhat of the same. He starts at 6th, O'Leary 7th, then the both Ferraris, and then Nuve. And the big losers are Lasso, who had the drive-through but still starts in 13th. Snap will come across the line in 14th. Kajetic with another pit stop will actually start 14th. And yeah, Leroy even spun, and there is even a chance for Schumacher to get off the last row, and I think he will make it. Because of a penalty there, yeah. Wow, very action-packed 5-lapper. Oh really, Ross? Oh god. Ah well, those rankings will, well, maybe not. Maybe they all will have a great race in front. But okay, this is it. And yeah, fastest lap is not really important now, but yeah, some real good drive in there. Also maybe some mistakes already in 5 laps. You know, who knows what. It's interesting that like a drive-through, he doesn't count that as a stop. I'm seeing now. This is the grid for you, Reaper. I hope you can just pause and check it. But yeah, good runs. Also some solid runs by the means of O'Leary or Will, even though they got overtaken by drivers that came from much farther down. And yeah, everyone has free tire choice for the race. So yeah, it's just there are some people who really redeemed themselves for having a bad quali run, and there are some people who really struggled because of it. And yeah, championship contenders at the back, behind each other, again close to each other. I hope that doesn't foreshadow something, but no, AWS rankings are much worse. Why? Oh. Okay. So, I hope for Reaper watching back the stream is good enough to get the grid order. For the 50% race. So yeah, well, I had a lot of time now to go through the standings. I didn't do the constructors, by the way. Constructors also kind of decisive already. Red Bull leading Williams by 39, and yeah, it's basically almost a one-man team on both fronts. However, Reaper contributed to somewhat of the lead of Red Bull with his third place in Imola. But Tech didn't even score points since round 2. Third is Mercedes now with 86, which is 31 less than Williams. They are 6 points ahead of AlphaTauri. Then 3 points to McLaren, and then 3 more points to Ferrari. So it's close for third in the constructors. And even Alfa Romeo can have a chance there with 64. And Haas with 41, Alpine with 31, and Aston Martin with 8. Sweating out time trial. I would expect anything less. I already know that you're the big sweat engine. There is already a steward submission. Okay. I think you all can guess which incident that is. Okay. Can I? Yeah, maybe I can tell something good about the next season, since we're already preparing next season for a bit, because we only have 3 races after this one, and for sprint we're also in the final 2 weekends. So it's gonna be season 9. Damn. What's this? Oh yeah, it's gonna take a while though, but we're again gonna do 20 sprint tracks, so almost every track for the sprint league. Season will be 12 races long, and yeah, at the moment I think tracks that will be qualified for it are some. Oh wait, we're already going. Damn, we did this shit quick. Tracks that already been voted with a massive majority is Bahrain, Silverstone, Brazil, France. I think France will make it so far. Austria, and on the bubble a little bit more are Portimao, Baku, and tracks that also close there are Monza, Belgium, and Hungary. Oh, and Russia. I feel sad that nobody voted for, that not a lot of people voted for Monaco. Come on guys, vote for Monaco. Alleen op zondag. Okay, Denja. Fine. Everything you do, I'm fine with. Hey, wait, what? Let's go on. Of course, formation lap will follow first. Everyone, load your setup. Maybe I had to remind people of it in the chat, but you have to remind yourself. Okay, here we go. And this indeed looks like the grid. Yes, I think this is the grid. Okay, let me see what everyone is up to. I love to see the mixed strategies. You can do a 2-stop at Kota. You can. I didn't drive the race this week, so I'm not sure how tire management is. But this is interesting because we have some drivers on the mediums. Pyro, Rorarula, Reaper, New Squid, Lasso, Kajetic, Snap and Vitor. And this could be very nice for Fontano to break away from the lead quite immediately, since he has a buffer of medium drivers behind him. It wouldn't work if he goes off track in the race like that, but yeah, and yeah, for the numbers 2, 3, 4, it's interesting how much quicker the soft runners will be. Yeah, so yeah, I think soft to hard is possible. I think so. Medium to hard maybe also, but it's not really. I didn't think it was a real downside to start to do a 2-stop. It's of course always slower, but you could make it work. That's at least what I think. Anyway. So yeah, this can be, by the way, a big one for anyone who wants to win a race but wasn't really able to because of Schumacher and Vitor being in front and taking the wins. However, that didn't really happen too much often. Schumacher didn't even win a race this year, and Vitor only did twice, which is the same amount of wins that Fontana has, who only has been here for 5 weeks. So he is a big contender for win. He's also a big contender for P3 in the championship. Could also be a season best result for Pyro or Rorarula, also searching for a first win. So yeah, is this an angle we like? I'm not really sure. There is Vitor in the Red Bull, now in order. And there we go. The red lights are under the spectator menu thingy. Maybe we could do this. Here we are. Let's go. No drive-through penalties for false starts and no carnage like in tier 3. And it's a good start by Fontana. The Merc is following, goes a little bit wide. Same goes for Cillian. Makes a good start on the softs. And Reaper is being swallowed there on his mediums so far. And I hope he just... Oh, I think he made contact there with a Ferrari. Really looked like, and Will has spun and is now back into last place. But apart from that, everyone looks to survive so far. Maybe except for the other McLaren. And Reaper already repassed O'Leary. And there we have it, 3 wide. There is an immense dive from Eli, who goes very wide and loses all and more positions that he was likely to gain. And now Reaper has to do... Why do I not see anything? Please, thank you. Reaper has to do anything to defend his position here on his colder and harder tires. And he blocks the move of Dove, who's now under pressure by O'Leary. And I think he comes away with it so far. So far he comes away with it, goes for a tighter line, can give an opportunity to Dove here. But this lap and the fact that he's holding his ground is gonna be important for his strategy. Dove is there now on the outside. Reaper keeps the car but goes a little bit wide, and maybe Dove will be able to make the move. Now he cuts in front. Great fight in here. I think I have to slightly switch to the front there, since Cillian is making the move on the medium runner of Rorarula, while Reaper is also being overtaken, which is not really a big issue. As long as he stays in this group and survives, it doesn't really matter that the soft runners will pass him at a certain point. It's more important that he doesn't pick up warnings like that one. So, big and healthy lead for Fonte now. 1.7 seconds. Cillian is coming to Pyro still to also use his tire advantage over him. And we are going to be very close. And already Stumacher here in 9th. He had an excellent first 2 laps and is trying to pass Leroy, who is coming from the back of the grid also. And much less bright fortune for Vitor, who is still stuck in 15th. And I think Leroy can maybe make a move there on O'Leary. Had a very tight line into the corner. Now he is still partially on the outside. O'Leary will, I think, go for a switch back, but is being covered off. And that means that Leroy is actually up to 8th. And maybe if I go to now. Yeah, Leroy came from the back of the grid, I can remember that. So he's doing a great job, and the same for Stumacher indeed. Cillian fastest lap, 1:36 something. I didn't go further. And a pit stop from Cannonfern, which is... no, he's not the first one though. So Cillian fastest man on track so far, and he has arrived at the back of Pyro for 2nd place. Which could be interesting. Eli is also in. Will and Lasso also pitted. Will went to the soft, Lasso to mediums. And yeah, all kinds of strategies are now there at the moment. And Major is also looking to catch up to the front two. And Reaper still under pressure, but not by a lot of cars anymore. I think Stumacher also lost the position out to Kajetic. Cillian there with the move, very clearly on the inside on Pyro, and he makes it stick, makes his tires work very effectively, and can now try to hunt Fonter now down. Let's go into the 2nd group and see what happens here. I think Leroy tried to make a move on Reaper, it was covered off, and now O'Leary on the inside once again. And Leroy also has to pay attention for his Haas teammate, who is there. And I think a lot of drivers are in this train again, all the way down to Vitor, which is being caused by Reaper not really having pace on those tires. There goes Kajetic on O'Leary, he went wide, and now it are both of the Haas cars. I really dislike the fact that this game decides to always use this camera angle on this straight. Williams is down the inside on O'Leary, who has to back out from steering in. And that's mainly because of Snap also alongside him, and O'Leary is dropping back. While he shouldn't be the one dropping back on those tires. And Reaper is doing a phenomenal job. Now he has the likes of Kajetic around him, who's on the same tires, but made an exceptional move there, because he made it stick so far. So far, he will have the inside now. Haas teammate Leroy. Oh, he goes for the move, and oh my god. Yeah, that was not an appropriate entry of a corner. It was even that far of a severe collision that Leroy gets a penalty for it. And Reaper has damage. Yeah. So the one time he doesn't screw it up by himself, he gets screwed, basically. Because the entry of the corner there by Leroy was not acceptable. He made a dive on 2 drivers who were already battling in a corner where there was no room anymore. Luckily he can safely pit now and come into free air. If the VSC stays for any longer, is there someone on soft who is trying to pit? Doesn't seem like it. It also seems like that Major lost out a position on Run and Rula. But their deltas are very close to each other. And Reaper is indeed safely into the pits. But his race is not over though. His race is not over. But I can understand if he... But he was the one mainly screwed, because Coyote just went very wide to avoid all the things. Yeah. And Snap also in. Maybe he also had some damage there. There is a drive-through for Spin, for Will. I have a feeling he's not the only one. Shall I take a look? No, he's the only one. It's just that Leroy had an extra penalty, and Fontana already has 3 warnings. That's quickly though. That's quickly. Lots of action happening in this race, like I hoped to predict correctly, and now we are going to have Major finally on back on Renoking98 on the better tire still, I think. And he has passed him, and he is back into 4th. Haas drivers once again. Oh, there comes the move from Stumacher, who basically decides, well, Leroy, I saw you making that kind of moves, I can do it too. But it works out for him. Yeah, so far. Yeah, still. And yeah, Stumacher is a little bit in an awkward position. He's fighting with all kinds of cars and losing and gaining positions, and he lost the one to Leroy and almost loses one another on O'Leary, who is an incredible fight here. It's position changes all over. And it even made Vitor attached to this group while he's on the mediums. Reaper doesn't even have a setup. Well, that makes it even more impressive in how he was holding off that position. Well, if he was smart, he at least changed his front wing in the pit, since you can. Yes, this camera angle. Thank you, Kay. Will's in for his drive-through, I think. Eli with the fast lap, 36.4. And Stumacher is finally pulling a little bit of a gap on Leroy, which is important. He is now catching up 4 points in the 30-point lead deficit he has on Vitor. Let's go slightly more to the front. Renoking98 still doesn't have quite the pace in these tires compared to someone like Dove, who catched up to him. Gap to Fontana and Cillian is, I think, growing, since it was 2 seconds last time I checked. Let me see. Yeah, good gaining from a lot of drivers. Also the first 3-second time penalty for Cillian, so that's looking good for Pyro so far. And Cillian is in, even. He's in. Is this a regular one? I don't know if this is a regular one. This is a regular one, yeah. He is, I think, going... Yeah, if he goes to mediums now, this is definitely a 2-stop. And we still have these guys here. Cillian is actually not going to drop back that far. He will be in 11th. And there comes Vitor with 2 moves in 1 corner. However, he goes a little bit deep, and like expected, he loses 1 place and maybe even the second one. And then, yeah, he basically gained nothing, but props to the attempt. And then O'Leary went for a very weird line in this section, which gave Vitor the position back again. I think Vitor did, Reaper did fastest lap, 36.2, so he did the fastest lap on no setup. Okay, this man actually is doing incredible. Yeah, he's already catched up the move. So Vitor went for the dive on 2, and then he eventually passed 1, and we have Renoking98 and Major and Dove all in a battle, and maybe the mediums will be the better tire very soon. And Renoking98 has the position now, but you never know for how long. They're losing time on the top 2 though. It's not even that bad for Renoking98 though, but it looks very good for Pyro so far. But yeah, I don't think I have to say that it goes well with Pyro, since it's a problem if I say stuff like that. So, let's see if these are gonna change from position. However, I must say I see a lot of dives, and I don't want to say, or I don't want to emphasize that making a dive on someone is something bad. If you pull it out well, like O'Leary does here on Leroy. Maybe you switch back. Yeah, I can't see anything. Come on. Oh, he's actually gonna work it out. I have a feeling O'Leary is gaining and losing positions each and every lap at certain points on the track. Really random. Because he is likely to gain the place back here on the outside. And there's a little bit of contact, and now Cillian is up into this fight. And oh, I have a feeling that the setup of O'Leary is a little bit sketchy though. That's the feeling I get. But yeah, anyway. End of the long straight. Dove couldn't make a move on Major. Rollerula still in front, but the fighter made sure that Pyro is now 4 seconds up ahead. Talking about fighting, there are 2 groups of 3 who are mainly fighting now. The rest is a little bit spread out. Stumacher 2.7 ahead of his rival Vitor. They are now a little bit clear. But yeah, it looks better for Vitor on his mediums. And Cillian passed both cars here and is already up into 9 with a pit stop in advance. And that pit stop is also been made by Major. And Leroy goes for the same, and now suddenly everyone is out of real battles. I don't think there are really close battles, suddenly. So let's follow the pit stops down, because O'Leary is also in. There are medium tires here. What did Ross say about strategy? He said, oh, you can do soft, medium, soft. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if they can in tier 4 though. However, some people maybe lack a little bit of pace, but are very good on tire wear. Major is back in 9th, that is even ahead of Reaper. Mainly because of the front wing changes for Reaper, I must assume. Yeah, and Fontana has now 2 seconds of Pyro is closing in now, so the mediums are gonna work better. Rollerula suddenly had a 2.4 gap on Dove. He was in battle with him and Major, but okay, not anymore. And Cillian is closing up to Vitor on his new mediums, but the real battle we have here for 11th, where New Squid is on these tires since the beginning, but not really having a lot of pace, and Eli catched up after choosing to pit early. I don't know if that was a voluntary choice, or he tries it on the outside. And I think he can make the move since Dude broke kind of early and didn't have a lot of good traction out of the corner. There are pit stops being made. Fontenau and Dove are in. And let me check where Fontenau comes back. Because there is Cillian on the straight. And that's a direct competitor. And Cillian is past him, I think, yes. Or alongside him. And it's an undercut of 2 laps that actually worked. This is for the... Oh! Yeah, okay. He saw that. So, this is like a real undercut for the lead in the race, but Fontenau is much on the back on him, and maybe he can already try something when he warmed up his tires correctly. So Pyro now for Rollerula. Kajetic Stubacker goes on. He's the only one on 9-lap old softs, and Fontenau already trying it over here. And I think that's a clever move, since he will have the DRS indeed, while already being alongside. Cillian tucks him behind to try to benefit from slipstream, but Fontenau made the move, and if he catches up to Vitor in this section, he can only have a DRS for himself in the next lap. Dove on brand new softs on Major. They are on switch strategies, I think. So in this stint, Dove will be like the guy with the benefit. It's good to see for Dove so far that he has a good race, since I can remember that there are a lot of races this season it didn't really go well with him, and of course this is early saying. yeah, this is still only lap 11. Yeah. And Fontenau not even already got the DRS from Vitor, he already passed him into turn 1. And that kind of... I know that he's like on 10 lap old mediums, again, fresh ones for Fontenau, but see the championship leader being catched up and overtaken that quickly even surprises me. Anyway, Cillian will try to do the same soon. At the front, Pyro still has the 4.7 on Rollerula, and then yeah, it's 4 seconds all along. Stumacher even went on for a 10th lap, so he really wants to try the soft medium with the softs at the beginning. Stops for Leroy or Leary, and Will, it's a really horrible race for Will for the other Ferrari. Cillian with a clean move on Vitor, who doesn't do anything stupid, but yeah, he knows this is a hard race for him to get any result of, mainly because of his grid position. I think he can already be happy if he scores points, to be honest. Okay, I think Stumacher will come in. He will be chased down by Fontenau very quickly. In a minute. And Stumacher indeed comes in. And he can potentially make it on the mediums. Same goes for Fondo, who sets the fastest lap, 36 flat. It looked a little bit that it looked for a moment that Cillian could like meddle himself into the fight for the lead, but yeah, I have my doubts now because suddenly the gap is 2 seconds. So Stumacher is in. Let me see where he is. Really, he is just in front of Eli. Yeah, he is. Further down there are some interesting battles. We've got Snap catching up also to Noob, who is still on his mediums, but yeah, not having the best time out here. And the same goes for Leroy, who just pitted for new softs against Lasso, who again had a problem in the beginning of the race, like he had in the sprint quali race. They're fighting, yeah. Those are the closest battles though. So yeah, we can give them some attention. O'Leary is also not far off. Maybe Snap can do something with the DRS? Maybe? Yeah, no, not him, but Leroy is. He passes last though. Oh, did he like serve this penalty now? Yeah, okay. So everyone we see with the penalty has 3 seconds except for Major, which is a surprise since Major took a podium with having no penalties in the last round. Okay. Interesting. So now this evolves into a 4-way battle because of that move, and Snap really tried to find a way around Noob, who picks up the penalty because of the pressure. Yeah. I think Reaper committed, by the way, to the 2-stop. The fact that he went to soft was, I think, a clever choice, since he could make big gains of that tire, and he can even switch to a second set of softs. I think I would do that if I was Reaper. Just put this ones 4 lap, go on these ones 3 or 4 more laps, and then go for another set of softs, and then hope you score points with that. That's a weird line by Noob. That's not how you're supposed to take the track, and I think this can be a 5-way battle. Noob is still having the position. O'Leary will be... This is funny that we have everyone like outside of each other, and then there is a massive train for P12. Oh. He's a little bit impatient, Snap, and I can understand, but he goes off track because of it. And that brings Leroy in a sandwich scenario. It looked a little bit like that, but he has passed, and I think he has to... Why? Give me an angle, please. It's almost 4 wide, and Leroy makes the move. Snap goes through. Lasso goes further through and gain 2 positions. And now only O'Leary has to pass New Squid. And it looked very good for Lasso, but he then spun and is now in P17, unfortunately for him. So yeah, I think Eli was also doing the same, like I just said. However, I think he will go to mediums until the end now. New front wing he needs, and mediums. Yeah, so he will go to the end. Will also go to the end. Fonta now. I think for Cillian it's gonna be hard though. Or it's gonna be massively slow. For Dove, it's also gonna be hard. On the soft. And Snap also went in. But for drivers like Stumacher and O'Leary, really doable. And the top 3 plus Vitor are really trying to go for the medium soft strategy. Anyway. In the last couple of laps, Rula and Pyro, the gap has shrinked a little bit to 3.7. Kajetic was also 4 behind. All the gaps are shrinking a little bit, but pace-wise they're very equal to each other. Yeah, for Fontana this looks great. If he can save this time, he's 10 seconds off Pyro, so he doesn't even need to push very hard. He has created a very safe gap to Cillian. Only penalties maybe he has to pay attention to. Anyway. Okay, so I think Stumacher is gonna catch up soon to Reaper with some older softs and will pit now, I think, for another set of softs, like I said. Yay! Still, I think he could have done like the one stop, and that is potentially gonna cost him. And he goes for mediums. Okay. Also good. Yeah, it's a safe bet. I think he could have made it on softs. And however, maybe he has a point. 13 laps. You have to like really pray for a safety car. So maybe this is kind of a clever option. But he had the pace. Only problem is that, yeah, he is now back in the mix here with Cutted Pearl and Nuve also pitted for soft. So, oh, yeah, I'm fairly sure that Fontana can go to the end. And I'm also sure that Major can go to the end. And Stumacher. And O'Leary. And Cillian? I don't know. And also Dove and Leroy. They're like on softs, which go down at a certain point. The biggest someone did on softs was 11 laps. So if you're on softs now, maybe Nuve can make it until the end. But and if you're on mediums, well, I think you would love to do 16 laps on them. So if you are now 4 or 5 laps on medium, then it's fine. And that's exactly what Fontana did. And for Cillian, it's a little bit of a stretch though. It's kind of a stretch. Anyway. Dove still wants to take the best out of his tires, of course. And I think he's on a similar position in the race with Vitor. He's actually really battling on position for Vitor because both have to pit. And I think both can pit to the softs, to be honest. If Dove started on mediums. And I think he did. Otherwise the advantage will be for Vitor, but yeah. Let's see if he can make the pass though, because his tires should be a lot better than those for Vitor. Gap is increasing between Pyro and Rula, but Kajetic and Fontana are closing in and at a slightly wider line from Vitor, and I think Vitor is driving a very clever race. He knows which battles he has to fight and which he doesn't, and a lot of them he doesn't really care to fight, and that's kind of smart because it prevents you from getting into unnecessary incidents like the one he had in the sprint race. He basically like arrived at a point in the season where he only has to worry about Stumacher, which is behind him on new tires. He can make it to the end though, and there we are having the pit stop of Pyro, but also Reaper making a move off the straight on O'Leary on his new mediums. Now he can catch up to Leroy, who we have great memories I think he has from Leroy. And there is Pyro, and He is of course on softs and will just come back behind Dove. And Pyro is really in the running for a podium still, since he cleared major for it. Let's battle for that. And he basically, yeah, he will go do the 11 laps on the softs. That's why ReaperDude83 waited another lap. And Pyro will have a great slingshot on the straight here, thanks to Dove. But catching up to like, I think that's gonna be a, yeah, that's 15 seconds catching up to Fonter now. 15 seconds, he has to gain more than a second per lap, so I don't see him doing that. He has free air though now. Yeah, he's challenging for a podium. Especially if he like can keep his tires well. Against like ReaperDude83, who's probably gonna pit a lap later. Let's see, ReaperDude goes in, K82, and that brings Fonter now back into the lead with a safe 6-second gap to Cillian, who tried a 2-lap undercut, came close to him, but yeah, dropped off massively. And basically shows that Font really has this race under control. Could be a third win. Then we've got Pyro, Dove, Vitor even continues. And there are ReaperDude83 close to each other on softs. They also both clear major. And Leroy is also in, so that's one concern less for Reaper. But oh man, it's way too big gap for Reaper. He can only maybe benefit from Vitor and Dove pitting and not getting a lot of penalties. So K82 uses the outlap to really put up the pressure on ReaperDude. However, ReaperDude will also get DRS thanks to Vitor in front, and we have finally a yellow flag. I don't think we had a yellow flag since the VSC in where? Certain lap. It's not Cillian though. No, it's the other estimate. Anyway. So, ReaperDude passed Vitor, and now K82 is being put in not so nice position since... Oh wait, yeah, you can also solve it like that. I think Vitor's tires are gone. I think it's possible. Interested to pit, and Fonter now is in. Oh, then Cillian also goes in at a certain point. Yeah, well, he almost had a pit stop in hand. No, that's over excessive to say that he had a pit stop in hand. But yeah, Dove and Vitor okay, and Dove okay, but for Font, I would have... That's crossing the wide exit pit lane line, my friend. If people want to screw you, they can do this now with this footage. You're not allowed to cross the pit exit. Anyway, this means that we gotta fight for the lead, and I think for Cillian it's really important he pits the softs. He can also like try to stretch out the mediums for 20 laps, but he is not gonna win with it. The move of Fonter now really gave Pyro the prime position to take the lead and the win, baby. The lead is gonna take here. And further down, Eli retired in the pits, and K82 again puts up the pressure on ReaperDude. They are both on similar strategies, and now it's interested if Fonter now can, with an extra pit stop, still challenge for a podium, because he had cleared at least some medium runners that can possibly go to the end. I think Major will try it. He will be challenged by Stumacher very soon. So first retirement of the race, and yeah, Pyro is likely to leave to disappear in the distance. K82 with fastest lap 34.5, and he's gonna put up the pressure on ReaperDude in this great fight for third. I think their tires are such good that they both can end up on the podium if they don't hit each other off track. And they will catch up to Cillian, I think. I think they will. O'Leary also goes in, he also goes for the softs. Same for Lasso, he also did the 16 laps on mediums. And, oh yeah, by the way, Dove pitted to mediums again, that's interesting. That maybe would say that he started on the softs. And Vitor also now on the softs, even in front of Reaper, who still can do something good this race. And there Kajetic for the move on Ronarula. However, Ronarula and Stumacher are the only ones without penalties, which can be very handy in the end. So Pyro pulling away further, of course, from Cillian. Only penalties could potentially stop him, especially if Ronarula will also do similar lap times or even better ones. He doesn't really have to worry about Kajetic as long as he can stay within the seconds. Oh no. Oh no, he doesn't. Oh no. Maybe it's nice to go a little bit further downfield with this three-way battle. O'Leary just on new softs passing Noof. And further in the background, Cannonfern is doing the same thing on Snap. Yeah, these guys are kind of far way down. After the 10th place of Reaper, there's like a 20-second gap to these 5 that are still very close to each other, or even 6. And oh my god, Snap comes to the inside, goes super wide because of it. And O'Leary is now Cannonfern. This is on the outside. Oh, Reaper took another piece of damage. Must be. Oh, it doesn't look like that. This is the weirdest pit stop strategy ever. If he's lucky, it's not even gonna cost him a position though. But he has, yeah, he dropped now to behind all those guys and has to pass all of them. And that promotes Leroy into the points, to be honest. So, but I have to focus on the front now, since there is a three-way battle starting to form for P2. Love this angle. Oh, Fontana with a 3 second, and Kajetic too. I think penalties can be decisive here. In the end, Fontana also with the fastest lap, he's catching up to those guys, but with extra penalties it's not really gonna work. Kajetic on the inside on Cillian, who really tries to hang on. Major also pits. Yeah, he screws himself there with a speeding. Yeah, I have a feeling that a lot of drivers are giving Stumacher and Vitor maybe essential positions in this race. Because now they're up to 6th and 7th, and I don't think Stumacher will go up another position. Then Fontana has to have a lot of penalties. That's a big gap. Yeah, Ronarula has to make the move if he wants some kind of a buffer on Fontana. And he is going to do that. Fontana was within the second and now suddenly he isn't. That's an interesting one. Something kind of low on the RS. Cillian is kind of good on that. How's Pyro on the RS? I think he's safe. No, okay. He is like really pushing. Fontana there on the inside of the final corner. That's not a move you see often. And he even got the DRS. And it's just to see that Cillian is still staying close to his rear. Looks for the move, but Cillian also knows that he committed now to this one stop with a very early stop to mediums. And since he committed it, he has to like keep it going. And he has a safe gap to behind though, so. Okay, let's see what Reaper can do in his quest to at least a point, because he has a big advantage on tire. Oh well, he doesn't, to be honest. Because O'Leary and Lasso are also on new softs, so I really want to see a good race for Reaper, but look at the pit stops and you see what the reason is it didn't went well. With the 3 pit stops. He passes Leroy into the final corner, and he has to hope purely on penalties, but the problem is he has some of them by himself. It's a little bit of a problem. The battle continues though, now with Cuttenford at the back of Leroy, also with the tyre advantage. No safety cars whatsoever. Almost no yellow flags even. There was a VSC, there was of course a yellow flag in lap 1, then there was a VSC, and then there was a very short yellow flag when Eli retired. So, great level of driving from everyone. And Cuttenford suddenly is a second behind. So let's see what Fontana can do, since he also has raw pace over Ronarula. He can go to well, it's not really that weird what he has done, since he also just did a 2-stop. But you see that the 1-stop, it looked like to work for everyone. But Fontana has such a pace that he can even grab a podium without it. Only problem is that Ronarula doesn't have any penalties, so he has to hope some of the top... Oh my god. Yes, he screwed it. He binned it. Too many penalties. I didn't do this was going to be such a penalty Valhalla. And also for like the top contenders, not like... It's not like that you see only a single 3 seconds for the top contenders. Just everybody. So he passes him, but Ronarula will be like, yeah, you're fine, you mate, let's go. And Will didn't have one, but he has now. And normally, if there is a safety car coming, a safety car now would be the biggest gain for Schumacher. Because he has no penalties, but because of the lack of it, he is not gonna benefit from it if it goes on like this. That's interesting. And to be honest, if like, I'm not gonna look at the penalties, but Ronarula is not really out of the question for the win. So yeah, interesting stuff. Ronarula is still staying close, of course, to Font. And there are no real other battles, since Reaper, can't catch up to O'Leary and Lasso. Obviously, since they also are on new softs. And I think we go into just, I don't want to say boring final 3 laps, but it's just now waiting for what the penalties are gonna do. How they're gonna mix it up. And Kajetic is catching up to Pyro, and if Pyro has an extra 3 seconds, then this could be important since he's on 2.9. Cillian is really dropping back now. Yeah. He has the point that his pace overall was kind of good, and that the rest is like so far away. Same also goes for the fact that we only have like a battle for P10 between O'Leary and Lasso, and I wanted to say Reaper, but I can't. And maybe Major can make a move on Dove in the end at all. Major was challenging for top 5, and I must say, big respect to the drivers Schumacher and Vito. I don't think they made any mistakes in this race. They just had to come from far, and just had the issue that there were 5 drivers at the front, which were not catchable for them if they didn't make any mistake. And if it goes on like this, then Schumacher indeed will come back in the championship for a little bit. I hope he will at least, diminish the gap to less than 25 points. Since that's it's not now important, since we have 3 rounds to go after this one, but it could be important to be on the right side of that threshold. Same time, Fontenau is, yeah, but we can agree that Fontenau is like the fastest man on, where can I see that? Yeah, he has the fastest lap, of course, but he had the fastest pace here today. And that if he's not gonna win, then that's completely due to his own weird another pit stop. Because I didn't saw him change in a wing, right? Oh, I'm not sure anymore. Okay, but yeah, oh wait, there are some battles forming up again. It's for P10. Maybe after all, Lasso can still score a point, and oh, Current Firm already passed Leroy. Yeah, this is going to be... O'Leary has been in this race all the time around P10. They're both down on. This was the first time that camera angle was useful, and this is the second time that camera angle is actually useful. Making the move. Major also closing up now on Dove. Are we already in the final lap? No, we are not. Big gaps though, it even means that the gaps are so big that Louvre is almost about to be lapped. Wow, there's a straight in between, and another 3 seconds for Cillian. He actually can lose a position to Stumacher. I actually could believe it if he got like 4 penalties. I can't believe that. Vitor's closing in on Stumacher, by the way. Oh, that could be interesting to find out. Fontenau makes the move, by the way, on Kajetic. And there's 2 seconds to Pyro. But I don't think I can believe that Fontenau has the least amount of penalties of all those drivers here. So let's see how this will go. These two tangled like in the first lap of the sprint, and now they're gonna counter each other in the last lap of the 50%. And I think Vitor is in a very good position to take the place, not the position. Fontenau's not gonna win anymore. Yeah. Kajetic still close to Font, but I don't think he has to worry. This is interesting to follow for the final lap though. Because track-wise you can still give like your opponent a mental, how do you call it? I don't know. In coach or move. Stumacher wanted to commit on but yeah, the exit of Vitor was just good exterior traction. Major couldn't do it on Dove there. And position-wise, Vitor has driven, I think, the entire race behind Stumacher, and only in the final lap he is in front of him. But Stumacher, yeah, just stay within 3 seconds, even if he got only 1 penalty. Going to Pyro, yeah, I don't know if he's gonna win it. I think at least Fontenau I saw way more often in the penalty area at the top of my screen. If so, this can possibly be a first victory for one of our very valuable members of ALR. To be honest, I hope I commentate on his first win here now. We will see. Pyro crosses the line in first, only a second ahead of Fontenau, who had 12 seconds of penalties. And he has 1.5 left on Ronarula, so indeed it is the first win of Pyro. Very well done. Kind of deserved if he had so less penalties as that we have seen, indeed. Ronarula indeed did the best he could without penalties. Very good achievement. Kajetic in third just because Fontenau had an incredible amount of penalties. Stumacher indeed jumps into 5th. Reaper exceeding the track. And so Stumacher is catching up 2 more points on Vitor. They finished at 5th and 6th. Cillian also had a lot of penalties, drops to 7th. Dove at 8th. Major in 9th, and Lasso... Oh, Dominate, O'Leary in 9th, and Major in 10th. And Reaper wants him to be 17th, apparently. Leroy just in 12th, and ahead of Cullen Fern. Very wide line there by Snap. But yeah, indeed, penalties did make a huge effort, and very well done by Pyro this. Maybe I can... Oh, I can't of course see them now. I will see them in a minute. But yeah, he had enough. His competitor was Rollerula. It didn't even matter that Font and Kajetic were catching up on track to him. Yeah, he really deserves it. I'm very happy for him though. Finally, it went all the right way for him. He had a really hard start of the season with like the first 2 races, bigging it in the 2 times in the final lap. And now he gets to visit the top step of the podium. Rollerula second, Kajetic still in 3rd. He came from like down in 14th on the grid after a problem in the sprint race. Yeah, only a single 3 seconds for Pyro, and Kajetic only had like 6. And Fontenau had 15 seconds. I think with all those penalties, if he didn't make the second stop, he maybe would have won even. Schumacher without any penalties, Vitor with 6 seconds. And they're also kind of lucky that Cillian had 12. And Major finishes 10th with 23 seconds of penalties. Jeez. Man. So yeah, and so 10 points against 8, so the gap will come down to 28. It's not what Schumacher would have wanted to see, but Vitor could also gain a lot of points on him. And yeah, this is the rest of the finishers. But maybe also a good race for Leroy though, because I can remember he had struggles in the first one he had. So, wow, good one. Because I think this is Pyro his first win. It should be, I think. His first pole was 2 races ago when I was not here. Yeah, incredible performance by him. Yeah, the more the season unfolds, the better it goes for Pyro. So, and yeah, Rollerula with an equal result as in Belgium, as his best result of the season. And Kajetic had of course the win in Jeddah, but this is his second visit to the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. 3 more rounds left in Mexico, China and Portimao. And I hope I will catch you guys then. So stay safe and see you all next time.